and technique and theory starts to make a little sense why you're going through the jumping through those hoops. When you don't write songs, okay, everything becomes stagnant. Now, practicing other people's songs is always fun too, but writing your own will ignite your own passion for your own music. Right now, okay, my friend Amanda, she's just lives down the road from me, and her and I did some of that Light of Hope project stuff that I got on my channel, and we just ended up getting so busy that we couldn't do anything anymore. And one of the things I did in 2003 when, okay, it's like, okay, well, I'm a rhythm lead guitar player in most bands, and that's great. Well, in 2003, I started getting more involved with the acoustic guitars again, and I started singing. And trust me, it's a journey to learn how to sing. It takes as long to become a good singer as it does to become a good guitar player. And it varies from person to person. There is no oh, this guy's just has such a naturally great voice, or this girl has such that can happen to anybody. But there's also, just because you have a nice sounding voice doesn't mean you can sing, right? Just because you have a shiny guitar doesn't mean you can play, or a nice drum kit or whatever. And I'm telling you that from experience as well. Just because I have nice equipment doesn't mean I know how to use it, right? But you get the idea. Like you have to put in the time, but where you put in the time, it has to give you some fruit of your labors, or else it just becomes, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? And I don't think there's anything worse than seeing a musician give up. I think that's the worst thing ever, because when you give up on your music, deep down, you're always thinking about it. You're always, wishing you could have done a little bit more with it. And even if you haven't touched your guitar in 10 years, go pick it up. Go pick it up. The thing I do every morning is in 365 days in a year, there might be 1 or 2 days that I don't play guitar. And I don't necessarily sit there and practice for hours and hours on end. That's not needed. You don't have to do that. You can if you want, if you really enjoy it that much. But that becomes robotic in itself. If you really want to get the most out of your instrument, think about it like this way. Say you got a girlfriend or a wife or something like that, and you really love her, okay, and you leave for work in the morning, give her a kiss on the cheek and whatever, and she gives you a smile and packs your lunch for you or whatever, and you say your niceties, and then you go about to work for the day. By the end of the day, you come home, you see her happy and she's smiling at you, and she's got supper ready or something like that, and you go and you see her and you're happy to see her because you haven't been around her all day. Whereas if you've been around her all day, you're probably at that point, by the end of the day, you probably want to smash each other over the head with a guitar or something like that. It's like, could you get out of the house, go do something, right? So kind of like as the absence make the heart grow fonder. Well, passion works the same way with guitars or basses or drums or whatever. The instrument doesn't really matter here, because the music is always from within anyway. But what does happen is you pick your guitar up in the morning just before you go to work. You don't have to plug it in. Drummers, you're going to have a harder time doing this because, if you get up at 7 in the morning and you start beating on those skins there, I'm sure someone's going to beat you over the head with something, with a frying pan or something. They'll take that cymbal stand and shove it up your whatever. Who does that at 7 o'clock in the morning? But what I'm talking about is in the morning I grab my guitar, any guitar in the room, whatever, and I might play for 2 minutes. Could be anything. Do some sweep picking. Maybe I do a song. Then I'm out the door. And all day, I think, do that in the morning, every morning with whatever instrument, whether it's your bass, your guitar, whatever. You don't have to plug it in. You just, man, that riff. When I get home tonight, I'm gonna get that riff again. And then the next day you do the same thing, and you do this every day. You don't play it long enough to get tired or repetitive to the point where it becomes nauseating like work, where you're just doing the same things over. It becomes that, it's kind of like pausing a movie halfway through or something like that. It's like, just when it gets to the good part, I got to go to work. So all day at work, all you think about is your guitar. You know what I mean? And the music. And, maybe when I get home, I'm going to try this. I wonder if this would work in a song, blah, blah, blah. And it just keeps you motivated. So for 46 years, I've pretty much been motivated with the guitar. How is that possible? Like, how do you not get tired or something after 46 years, of doing it? You know what I mean? Well, there's other things I do, because now I think since I got the drum kit and the bass in the last pat, well, the drum kit I got in February, the bass I got last year in March of last year. And because I sing, because I play, violin and mandolin, I'm not saying I'm good at it. I'm just saying, because I play all those things, I tend to think I have a more orchestral kind of mind of writing songs where it's like, okay, now I can kind of more visualize, or I don't know how you'd say it, in your head of what the drums should be doing during my songs and how would that work with the bass and how would that work with the guitar. So the music itself becomes the captivation and not the tool that's used. So if you're getting bored with the guitar, it's because you're not involved enough in the music, in my opinion. You're involved in the guitar and the mechanics of the guitar, and that's great. And that's how you get better at it. Like I say, in case the dream team calls you and says, "Hey, we need you to Yngwie stepping out on this one. We have a great rhythm guitar player. We need you to fill in for Yngwie." Right? That's where the skill levels of practice get you. But the music is what keeps you there. And that I don't think enough people talk about on, like on YouTube or whatever. They talk about gear and, this next greatest thing or the recording of it or whatever. And that's great. Like right now I'm working on this one song of many songs that I'm working on. And I'm working on a song called Plague Doctor. Now that song is going to take a long time to get that one out, but that one's going to be really, really, really cool. It's going to be on my 7-string, right? But also too, getting back to my friend Amanda, she's going to have a little concert at her shop. So now I got to get mostly going to be covers, but I thought, why would her and I have to do covers? I think because I'd really like to showcase her vocal abilities. I would love her singing along with me playing the violin or playing the mandolin or playing whatever, right? Of course, the 12-string guitar and all that. And just do a whole bunch of originals, even if we do only like say 5 or 10 originals out of the night, but like, out of a 3-hour span, rather than just doing covers. I know I can put on a show myself, like for a whole 3 hours. That's no problem. I've done it so many times, right? But now I've got another person on this project, and having projects, man, that you get out of the mindset. There comes a point where you're focused on technique, you're focused on gear, like I got to buy this gear, that gear, whatever. But like, for example, my drum kit. Okay, the only things I want to really do to this drum kit, okay, obviously more cymbals. I do want to add more drums eventually, but I can't get the Anaconda Burst, unfortunately. So I could live with this drum kit the way it is for the rest of my life, but I got to get better at it. But what I really want to get on this drum kit is a double bass pedal. So that's gear I want, and more cymbals, right? But that said, I'm more focused in on getting the techniques down. Yeah, I'm only 6 months in, so I'm not that great of a player, obviously. But I'm getting better by the day kind of thing. And again, I only spend maybe 15, 20 minutes at a time on the drums. I don't spend hours and hours and hours. I can, if I had the time or whatever, sure, I would. But I can't. But that said, just spending 15 minutes on this or 45 minutes a week playing the drums motivates me because like I can feel the progress, I can hear the progress, right? But more importantly, it's like, okay, now that I got the progress, well, I've got enough progress here to be able to do maybe a song in this caliber or whatever, you know what I mean? Like this level of a song. Like, okay, I might not be able to do Neil Peart or Jonathan Mover or Nizo from Frozen Crown, which I can't wait till I get to his level, because that kid is just freaking nuts. And his kid, I think, is even smaller than mine, except for the cymbals. But it's like, okay, that's great, but how do I compose, the song, right? That's what I'm thinking of. And that there, you almost don't have to be playing the instrument to be entertained by that, because you could be at work, you could be wherever, and wherever you're going to be, where you're on kind of autopilot, your brain can be filled with, okay, these drum beats will go to this guitar riff, to this, and you're just into the song. So when I have my friend Amanda, hopefully in a month or two, when we do a show, and I have her, basically yelling at the audience in the ancient Gaulish or Gaelic, singing along to like some really soulful, creepy, haunting Celtic violin riffs. I mean, trust me, I am excited for that, And if I'm lucky and I get to do some smash and bash on the drums with somebody and, play live for maybe even an hour or whatever as an opening act, I know I could pull that off right now. That'd be awesome too. Maybe I get a 3 hour show with the bass. Maybe I get back on the guitar and the vocals with another band. Who cares what it is? The project is what keeps you motivated. So for those that are still in that kind of intermediate stage where they haven't really joined a band yet, they've been playing for a couple of years, and they don't know where to go, write songs is number one. And keep it simple, stupid. I'm one of those lucky guys. I could write 10 songs a day, no problem, completely finished. Will they be good? Well, some of them will just be ideas or whatever. But some of the songs I write, and Glenn Frick from Spectre Studios kind of sums it up. If you write a song that you yourself won't listen to more than once, don't expect anybody else to, right? And that's true. So working on songs that I want to listen to more than once, it's something that I'm really passionate about or whatever. That takes time, but that's also what keeps you on the instrument. That's what keeps you motivated, is the project. So try to do your practicing as much as possible, but make time for songwriting or a project, or to become a part of a band or whatever, because those musical projects, that's kind of the end goal. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of why you're doing it. To be one of these YouTube guitar players that just, okay, here's a lesson on how to do, sweep picking or whatever. Yeah, that's an end game too. But I'm sure those guys, when, after they're done showing you the lesson on how to sweep pick, they're